Um, I am in a little bit of a dilemma. Um, I have I have to find a way to have a conversation with my son
Power on. You plug your computer
about
box. Bluetooth
um
mode.
he's not he's not taking care of the house, and he's not taking care of the house and making the kids accountable for um their clothes, the way they um keep keep the bathroom when he's yeah um it's, he's neglecting things that he should be making them accountable for, and he's not being accountable as a parent for the house.
Okay.
And I got to have a conversation with him because it's, if the child services people came in and saw the house like this, it would be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So he is on the upside, on the upside of all of this, he is working a part-time job. It's taken him since his operation in 2020 to finally feel well enough that he could go out looking. He's working for one of his friends who owns a tavern. Not my first choice for him, but that's what he found. He put in a lot of other applications, but maybe because they know he's on a disability and he can't, he's limited by what he can do. His friend, who owns the bar, hired him to be, of all things, a maintenance person, which is pretty ironic considering, the way the house has been maintained right now is a whole conundrum on the other end of the whole program, right?
Yeah.
So he's getting ready to go to work, I think, here before too long. And I was gonna start painting the back of my car. The paint came off because I didn't use the right kind of surface, and it's going to be nice for the next couple days, and the paint will dry. And then I got to take off on Thursday for Eyes of Freedom, in an event in Ohio, not too far from where I was. um, I just got back on Saturday. I thought I had till Friday, but I don't. I have till Thursday. So I have a couple days in town, enough, enough, just enough time to see that things are out of hand. I'm not doing my job as a mom if I let this go on.
Hmm.
I'm not doing my job as a mom. I'm not doing my job as a grandma. And it's not good. I don't think I don't think it will take a lot to get it. It's not going to take a lot to straighten it up. Rebecca is a smart girl, and when she wants to do it, she can straighten her room up in 20 minutes. It's just that Austin has not made her do it, and she spreads out like a virus. The living room is disgusting. No one else can sit in there because her stuff and her crap is everywhere. And the dining room table has stuff all over it. And now the cats are sitting on it and they're peeing on all the clothes. That's where he uses the table to, it's right next to the laundry room. And so he uses the table to put the kids' clothes on after he washes them and stuff. But everything has gotten out of hand, and now the cats are walking through everything and peeing on stuff, and it's disgusting. And
Yeah.
when I moved out in April, I was pretty much the house manager. And I was always on everybody's ass about cleaning up and, including Austin's. I mean, he's pretty stubborn. And so there were things that, his bedroom was off limits to me. But the other stuff, the kitchen and the living room and the dining room, I made sure that it was usable. Well, I've moved out and it's nothing is usable anymore because Rebecca has spread her stuff
Audio
everywhere
Amigo powering on.
and Austin's let it happen.
Oh,
So, she's got paint when she spends time in the bathroom as a teenager. I don't, she's got black paint uh, all over the bathtub and all over the chrome in the bathtub. And he's not said anything to her about it. He's not given her no consequences or anything. She just is kind of like running crazy. And it's not just at our house. I think it's going on. I think it's going on. She's pushing the limits at her other grandma and grandpa's where she lives with her mother too. So um I don't they all live in one little room over there. They have a big house, but the kids and Hannah live in one room. With Austin, he has one whole big house and it's just gotten out of hand and I got to be talking to him because I'm concerned. I need to say what's going on with you because this is neglect. This is neglectful of your home, of the kids, of yourself. So that's the dilemma I'm in right now.
yeah,
And you can I'm open to suggestions because you're a mom, you know what happens.
yeah. So, do you use the bathrooms, or if you say something to Rebecca, will she listen to you?
Um, she she how do I want to say this? I don't say much to her because a lot of the times I've been away. I say it to Austin and then I let him handle it. But yesterday I had to wait on her to take a shower because we do use the same bathroom and I've just been moving her stuff out of the way. But um it's not it's just she's just getting she's just getting by and I'm trying to decide whether it's better that me say if I say something to him or her. I mean, sometime the last time, this is just an example. The last time I was in the bathroom, there was bowel movement on the toilet seat, right? And that has happened before. She's the only one that I know that uses that bathroom. And she looked me right in the eye, Nalima, and said, "That's not mine. I go upstairs when I have to do a BM." And I'm thinking to myself, that's a lie. She does fib. She does lie. And she gets away with it and she thinks it's funny. But I told her the other day when she came in to see me in my little space, I said, "Rebecca, I learned this when I was 12 that you may think you get away with it now, but the consequences are going to be people are never going to believe you. You may think a simple lie. I can remember, I was telling her, I can remember when I was 12 years old and I was exactly her age. And I realized that I better stop with the little fibs because I couldn't remember who I said what to, right? So I can almost tell you the day I stopped lying to anybody. She's not had that awakening yet.
Mm.
I know she does not go upstairs when she has to poop. She just is too lazy to wipe off the toilet seat for the next person. And all of her stuff is all over the bathroom. And the boys use the one upstairs, so they don't see it, but Austin sees it when he goes in to do the laundry because the washer and dryer are in there. So it's not, he's on antidepressants, but I need to have a conversation and say, are they not working? I'm concerned about you because this is not good. This is neglectful. And do you, I can ask him, do you want me to have a conversation with Rebecca, or do you want to do it? I found a little red heart, like a 3-inch red heart on the wall. She drew a heart on the wall. And I said something to him, and then he said something to her, and he made, I could tell there was an attempt to take it off the wall, but it's still there. The wall is now stained until someone paints it over, and I'm not doing it. She needs to do it. But I just don't know whether, as I said, he's, he's almost 50, but he's got issues. And he's one of those veterans that I travel all around and 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 go to places and talk to people about healing veterans. And I got one in my own house that needs help, and I'm not sure how to help him. But I know I got to have a conversation with them, because if child services came in, they could take the kid, they could take the kids, or say the kids can't come here anymore because your house is unacceptable. If his in-laws came over for Easter, and I will bet you that it didn't look much different. They're probably wondering what's wrong with me.
Mm.
So I need to have a conversation with him today. I was gonna say, you have a tenant who's not happy with the fact that she has to take a shower, in a tub that's got in a shower that's got black paint and handprints all over it. She may be at the place where she just buys a little, medical chair and a shower, or showers somewhere else, or uses another laundry. That doesn't help him any, and it doesn't help the kids any. That's the bottom line. That makes it easier for me, but it's not helping him, and it's not helping the kids.
Yeah, somebody has to uh, orient the children
Yeah.
about the discipline of a house. Maybe that is what they have been missing. I don't know about their mother,
Yeah.
whether she teaches them anything about this.
Well, when when Hannah and Austin when Hannah and Austin lived when they first got married and they lived in Indianapolis, they had a cute little ranch house, and they kept the area that was common, like the kitchen and the living room, because people came over, and the bathrooms were okay. When they moved, then her mom and dad came to them, and they all moved down here to Alderson, and then the kids' life, Austin and Hannah's life, their life just never recuperated. Hannah's mom and dad have this big house, and they have, they've had their trouble with their kids. I'm not saying that they've not had their issues, but Austin and Hannah have never recovered. Austin owns a house now, but uh, he doesn't know how to take care. He's not taking care of it. He takes care of the outside. He knows what to do, but he's not doing it because sometimes he doesn't feel well enough. Sometimes he's feeling lazy about it. Sometimes he's in overwhelm. Sometimes he doesn't know what to say to the kids because he doesn't want to be the bad guy. No more, no more than I want to be the bad guy. But I got to do something because this isn't working. This is terrible. And it's not, Nalima, it's not like it just needs to be organized and straightened up. The house isn't fall, the house is not fallen down around their ears like it was 5 years ago before I got here. It was. I mean, there were holes in the kitchen ceiling and the cats were crawling all around. We've come a long way in 4 years. But when I moved out in April, and I moved out because I was always being the bad guy. And I wanted Austin to stand up on his own 2 feet. Well, it's taken a year to get bad again. And now I'm having to be the bad guy again. Or the one that comes in and says, this is not okay, Austin. If other people saw the way you're holding the way it is, it could be bad news for you. And the kids are his main focus, but he could end up in a bad space because he's not making them accountable for things, and he doesn't ask them for much help. And if they want something, he makes them do some chore. Like Rebecca wanted a $50 watch, and so she she knows that he can't bend down and do stuff, and so she just will say, well, Dad, what can I do to make the money for the watch? And he'll give her some things to do, but he doesn't make her do a really good job. He just lets her get by with the least amount, and then she goes on, and a couple days later she's at her mother's house, and they go back and forth. It's part of, I mean, I did it with Austin and his father, and it's tough. It's hard enough having your kids. It's hard enough being a consistent parent when they're in one household, but he's in, this is it was tough. It was hard.
Mm.
But John and I, we didn't let it get to the place that it's at. And neither of us, I was going to say, neither of us were injured. That's not true. I was on antidepressants the whole time, but I didn't, when they were growing up, but I did what I needed to do. I never let it get this bad, but he's a single parent with the kids. She lives with her mom and dad. She's a single parent trying to, she just finally passed her cosmetology test. And so she's supposed to be getting a job doing hair. Um, but when they were together, like their garage was a disaster. They're not organized people. Neither one of them. So the main living room was okay and the bathrooms were okay, but their bedroom, had clothes piled all over it, and they eventually got to them. But that's when they didn't have kids. Now they have two kids and a teenager who's pushing the limits.
Yeah.
So sorry you had to walk into this, but that's what's going on with Sophie.
Sophie, if I can tell you something,
Yeah, please. Yeah.
not about your whatever is going on, but no, just for you,
Uh-huh.
um, to think it this way. Because when there is a home which is all over the place and not
Yeah.
arranged, not very
Yeah.
clean,
Yeah.
then the normal tendency is to avoid doing anything. So it can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
So if my house is not clean, not properly arranged,
Yeah.
I would not enter that particular room for say 3 4 days. I will
Yeah.
resist till, because it is a my house only, my rooms only. So I have to be there, right? So I have to start from somewhere and clean it up. I'll
Yeah.
make it. And I'll make a habit so that I do little things everyday
Yeah.
basis. For
Yeah.
example, I tell you the clothes that I wear every day to office.
Uh-huh.
So those are the clothes. So when I come back from office, those clothes are a little sweaty, right?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I put them, I spread them on a place where there is a railing where I put
Uh-huh.
those clothes. So now
Yes.
in Indian, how it is, the pollution is so much, and the clothes also get dirty.
Sure.
So every piece of cloth that I wear to office, I can wear it twice or say
Yes.
thrice. After
Yes.
that, I have to wash it. But those twice and thrice doesn't happen in a week. So it sometimes goes to 2, 3 weeks, right?
Uh-huh.
Till that time, all those clothes, where do you keep them? So I have found places to keep them. So it is just think of like 2, 3 weeks clothes, which means 5 days week, five pairs of clothes, and 3 weeks. It is 15 pairs of clothes, right?
Yeah.
And those, there has to be some formula, your arrangement at your place, how to keep them uh, like wearable for say for 2, 3 weeks
Yeah.
before you wash them. Once you
Yeah.
wash, then you press it and keep in your cupboard, right?
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is this is everybody's personal thing, but this is the very much the process that one wears clothes, right?
Right.
Everybody. So what happens is the first thing is Austin doesn't have a supporting hand. So you think that Rebecca can do the thing, but he doesn't think that. So
Right.
most of the time, that is what each of us do. Like I kind of now I know that my younger daughter is very good at putting clothes together in no time.
Uh-huh.
So I take her service when my cupboard is no like a bunch of clothes are there which are just washed and iron and I don't know how to pair and how to keep so that I can easily take out when I need the next week,
Uh-huh.
right? So
Uh-huh.
I have used her expertise. I call her, and in 15 minutes she does it, which would have taken me say 3, 4 hours. To think think over.
Okay.
So 3, 4 hours is a lot of time. So by
Yeah.
that time one gets fatigued about the clothes, like also overthinking, and it will not get done. So that efficiency, that is a big factor
Yeah.
in putting your arranging and having your house in order, right? So,
Yeah.
so different skills are with different people.
Yeah. She
And
It,
yeah.
Rebecca is a very good. It's good that you're pointing this out to me because she is a very good and very quick organizer. But somebody's got to make her accountable and make her do it. She
Mhm.
can together. I'm amazed at how fast her room looks like a disaster, and then in 15 minutes, it's all together. She may shove a lot of stuff in the closet, but she can do it. It's just that Austin has not made her do it.
Yeah. So he will
And
not, even if you speak to Austin, maybe he
yeah,
is feeling like little uh, 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 not up to the not up to his health to take it up with
yeah,
Rebecca. Maybe that can
yeah,
be one reason, and the second is he cannot do it itself himself, right?
right.
So,
And she knows that, and she knows that.
yeah. So if you speak to him, I think. it will
Uh-huh.
it will of maybe it will further kind of depress him sort of. But if you can speak to Rebecca, because
Uh-huh.
you are the grandmother, and without without sounding a disciplinarian or something like that, you can just say
Right.
that if you can do this on everyday basis, so that your father would feel like coming home and enjoying this, maybe he will start doing stuffs on his own, whatever he can do. So
Yeah.
why not help him in doing as, and she also knows that her father is not very well, no, health wise. So
Yeah.
it will be for her, no. She will start thinking, because she is a girl, and she will
Yeah.
catch this much faster than a boy. I think so. So
I
maybe.
hope.
So you can
Right.
use that part of no, the emotions in human relationship, and without sounding harsh to neither her nor to Austin, you
Right.
can get.
That's my that's my biggest fear is uh,
No,
we
please,
we
please,
spend we
because
spend
you are you are anyways, whether they accept it or not, you are the person who they are looking for some direction, because you are around.
yeah.
So they are looking for a direction without saying it, without expressing it. And this happens when a lady is there in a house. That is why they say the ladies can make a house, the man cannot. So the it is too much for Austin at the moment. That is what I think. But because you
Yeah.
are there, and
He
you have to be little no diplomat also in your very
yeah.
crafty your
Yeah.
conversation and the way you say things.
Right.
You you can do that. I know you have done that with other people as well. Because I know we have studied that much
Yeah.
when set an intention about a good thing, and without appearing to be very harsh, you can say the same thing in two ways, right? Uh,
Right.
Appearing very straightforward, matter of fact, and with empathy. There are two ways. So right now, the family needs some empathy from you. I that is what I sense. So
Yeah.
I know you also need some support, some emotional support also, but they do not understand that you also need some support. The younger people in the household do not think that the elderly at home, they need also some support, that they
Yeah.
don't understand. So
Right.
with all your experience and whatever you have gained, all the insights, you have to all marshal them, and your behavior and your whatever you say to Austin. The
Hmm.
worst thing that would happen, they will say, reject your idea of getting organized or cleaning things or keeping things clean. In that case, you always have an option, um, because maybe, as you said, maybe because of overwhelm of that big house to be maintained and kept well, organized and other things, that may be a
Yeah.
big ask for Austin, for which he is not able to say make Rebecca also accountable, because he himself is not being not able to do certain things that should he should be doing.
Yeah.
Which means, no, he also understands that what he can't do, he can't ask Rebecca to do. But somehow, from somewhere, there needs to be a beginning to be happening. So that beginning can start from the bathroom. You may not be um, doing the cleaning of or maintenance of the entire house, but the bathroom thing, because you use it,
Yeah.
that can be kept clean, and you can help them do that, so that the other part, whatever they do, you can't help that, no? Maybe
Yeah.
slowly they will understand that that part also needs to be cleaned once the bathroom is clean. Bathroom is
Yeah.
the worst place, which is a small tiny place compared to the other house, the entire house. But
Yeah.
it is the most difficult place to be cleaned.
Yeah.
If it is not being cleaned every day, then it's a big task for
Yeah.
somebody to give. Maybe you can help them there, and then the entire house, it will be somehow maintained, and you can slowly, because you have taken the task of cleaning the, you can ask somebody to come and clean that bathroom.
Uh-huh.
And because you have initiated that, then everybody would have that moral responsibility to obey you in somewhat. And once you earn that, then you can tell Rebecca that you can do it in no time. Why not keep doing this? And she will share some of her apprehension why she is not doing. There may be because she is doing it, and other people are spoiling it. Maybe her brother, her father.
No, it's all her. the last the last time the bathroom got cleaned about a week and a half ago, and I ended up doing it because I invited a girlfriend into my space for dinner, and I thought, oh my gosh, if she has to use the bathroom, it's a mess. So I cleaned it. And the next day, Nalima, it was a mess again because Rebecca just did exactly. She threw all her stuff all around. The very next day,
Yeah.
Austin Austin thanked me for cleaning the bathroom. He thanked me for doing it, but the very next day, it was exactly like it was before.
Okay. So that is where both you and Austin may be speaking to her. Maybe see, this is an indication of some other disturbance going
Yeah,
inside her also.
yeah,
No, Sophie.
right.
So yeah, so that needs to be addressed. And
Yeah,
people, children of this age, when their parents are not around or not monitoring them enough, it is very easy to go wayward. No, you know that.
sure, sure. Yeah. When her mom brings them over on Saturday. They come over Saturday. She was barely, her mother wasn't even out of the driveway and Rebecca was out of the house with her stuff in her hand going over to her girlfriend's to stay overnight.
Hmm.
And, and it's I'm sure it's a combination in Austin's head of he wants her to be able, because for a while nobody went anywhere. They were just all sticking around the house. Well, now she has a girlfriend, and she took what she wanted and didn't come back until Sunday, late Sunday afternoon. But she left the bathroom a mess. So she it does need attention from both of us. You're right. We
Yeah,
have to have he and I have to have a conversation, and it's not a blaming conversation is not going to get us anywhere. And my biggest fear is is I I know he operates slowly. He always has. He does things slowly, and he works better if somebody works with him. Uh, but that means me, or it could be her. It could he could go to the kids and say, "Let's do this together," because it's not my house, and I don't want it to be my house. I don't mind helping. Like today, I told Austin I was going to go around, and I cleared all the bushes and the old the old bushes and the stuff that you have to clear out, at the end of the season. They've all been growing, so I told him yesterday I will do that, and I made big piles in the yard, but I'm not going to clear them away. So I mean, the kids can do that, but I got to say to him, how about if the kids do this? And you don't need to be paying them every time they turn around. They live here, and they're part of the family. They shouldn't expect to get paid every time they do something. Their bikes are laying around on the ground, and they don't get picked up unless some adult picks them up. They just don't respect their stuff because they have so much stuff. And that's a whole other issue. They don't respect what they've got because they've gotten so much from either her family or our family. The kids don't want for anything. And at the same, and that's probably an age old conversation, but there does need to be a conversation with Austin and I. And my biggest concern is that I don't piss him off because I don't want to lose 3 years like I already did with this kid. I'm not willing to do that, but I am willing to have another conversation. I am willing to have a conversation, but behind all of it is probably the same thing, the same reason he lets Rebecca get by with stuff. He doesn't want her to be angry at him. I went to a birthday party Saturday for our friend Arimer, who turned 30, and his he's got five. There's five boys, and his father his father is angry at all the boys because they were, he's got all kinds of health issues, and the boys are trying to help him. He got so mad at all of the boys about all of it that he didn't the boys told him not to come to the birthday party because he was threatening people. And so all of this in some way, all of this family dynamic stuff, so here's this dad who's been angry at this woman who left him 10 years ago. He continues to hold a grudge, and his kidneys are no longer functioning. So it's taken its toll on his body. And then, and the kid and the dad didn't get to go to the birthday party, and the boys didn't get to go to the birthday party because half of them are angry at one another. It's like, oh my God. It's what I was what I was going to tell you about what I've learned, the lessons I've learned in this 90 days is that that I have learned to be with conflict in in new ways and in old ways, and I don't I don't like it any more than before I started writing about it. I don't like conflict any more than I did. Uh, And part of it is letting it roll off of me and understanding that sometimes you just have differences of opinion, and that's going to be how it is. But this conflict, this I'm going to say to you, I will have the kind of conversation that I need to have with Austin without blaming him. I will just say, I can see, Austin, that you need help. And how can I help you? Because this
Yes.
is This isn't helping anybody. How can I help you? Because I'm not doing my job if I
Yeah,
can't help you. At least we can't have this conversation about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that will be the opening conversation that you can have. It will
Yeah,
certainly it will go in some direction and it will give him also the support, no, the emotional support that he might be requiring, looking
yeah,
for from you.
yeah. I know it is not, it's not easy. It's not easy for him. It's not been easy for Hannah. They do pretty well co-parenting. They don't argue between the two of them, yet uh they got that part handled, but the part that they're not doing so well at, and we can all say we were at that place. You don't get to be a parent. There's no booklet that comes with it, right? You
Hmm.
just work your way through it the best you can. And I know Hannah is probably struggling as much as Austin is with Rebecca, because she's very, very headstrong and very, she likes the fact that she thinks she's a badass. That's okay when you're a grown up, but it's not okay when you're 12.
Yeah,
You know, she thinks, yeah, she thinks, yeah, she just has she's in the middle of her adolescence, that's for sure. And it was tough on John and I when the kids, when we had two boys. It was hard. It's a hard. I think parenting is the hardest job I've ever had.
yeah.
So anyway, um, I I, I value your suggestions, because I think I think that Austin, um, we just need to find Rebecca's niche. And I don't know what it will take for her to be empathetic and be willing to help her dad, where she doesn't make money out of it. Like, yeah, I'll vacuum the steps, but it'll cost you $2 because I want this thing that I saw on Amazon. That's kind of how it's been going most of the time. She gets money to she's motivated by money. Rebecca is motivated by money. Rafe could care less about money, and Austin worries about money. He learned that from his dad. So, the fact that I'm paying him rent again is a big deal. It's a big help to him. But there's part of me that feels resentful. I'm paying him rent and I get to have to take a shower in a filthy bathtub that's got black paint all over it because of her. So, um, he sees some. I am sometimes surprised at what he doesn't observe. He's the guy, just like your soldiers there. They're the men and women that you want to be there when you need protection. And that's who Austin is. And I tell him this all the time. He always makes me feel safe. I always feel safe around him. But he's not the guy. He's not the guy you want to go to when you want to organize your house. And so thanks for listening.
uh, Sophie,
Maybe
you
what will help, huh?
Sophie, you have the strength of overcoming all this,
Yeah,
and you also have the skill to uh, say guide Austin in your way. uh, not as a not as your son, but as any human being you might have come across, no?
Yeah.
So yeah, so you have to get out of uh, I understand whatever you also think that um, maybe you make yourself responsible for what Austin has not become. Maybe. I don't know. If that is so, and if it is why it is causing you so much of grief, then come out of that. You are not responsible, you know. But you
Is it
have, yeah,
it's interesting you say that because about a week ago I had a day that I thought was starting out melancholy, but then I recognized that I was just really sad. And
yeah,
I was sad mostly because I looked at my children and I know I know how hard they have worked
yeah,
to 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 take risks and to try different things. They have both worked really hard, and they have both, gotten Austin didn't expect to get blown off a roof, and Nate did his best when he went to Florida to start a job down there, and they both, you know, I'm not having this conversation with them, so they can't say, they weren't there to say, yeah, mom, but look at this is what happened out of it. I just was really sad about the things that they had tried that didn't happen for them. And it took me a couple hours to get through it. And I had to say things to myself like, well, I don't know their path. I don't know their pre-birth contract if I still want to believe in that at this moment. uh, uh, I the upside for me with Austin always used to be, and still is, not many men in the United States get to spend 4 days a week with their kids because they're working. And John, Austin's dad, is an example of that. I remember Austin saying, having to have a conversation with John as an adult, a couple years ago, saying, "You never tell me that you love me." And, and John's way of showing it was to go to work and make as much money as he could to provide a nice house and clothes and what the kids wanted. But, uh, you know, uh, so all I'm saying is I spent a day kind of in a funk, feeling bad, not for me. I, you know, I, I don't feel bad for me. I love my life. It's not exactly what I had thought it was going to be, but I love my life. I don't know. I don't know if my kids say that, and I feel bad that they can't. I feel bad when I see how hard they've tried, and then
so it they will learn their lesson also, Sophie. But
yeah.
yeah, because and also because they are trying hard and not succeeding, as you say, but they need your guidance, as you say, or again, they didn't know their father's love because he didn't know how to express.
But
So,
John, but John was a good. He was a good dad, and
yeah,
I think that Austin and Nathan are good dads for the very reason that they, you know, John might not have always been there, but to this day, John's main focus is his children. And that's why I know that Nathan and Austin are good dads, but they just need some help.
yeah, yeah. So you can facilitate that, and he not because he doesn't have a wife right now, and that is a great blow also in anybody's life,
Right.
especially men, when they have children like this and they don't have a wife to support.
Yeah.
mm, so it becomes very difficult, and especially in because of his health, so it becomes too much for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the children are still young, and whatever mistakenly also he has taught them, they will take the cue from there, and they will be behaving in that way only till they are given some direction, the positive
Yeah.
direction. And it happens with you being strong, because you are the family head right now. Although
Yeah.
people do not live like that, but you are the head of the family right now. So you have to assume that responsibility, and with as much love, or say uh, the discipline, or whatever whatever you can call it.
A little of both, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It makes me it makes me think about my mom. My mom, uh my parents, um my parents were together. Let's see. My parents were together for probably 5 or 6 years before my brother Donald was born, who had Down syndrome, and that changed the dynamics. So
Hmm.
I don't I don't know for sure, but I don't know for sure if my dad came back from the war with PTSD or what they called shell shock.
Hmm.
I don't know for sure if he did, but anybody who goes into war, whether it's in my country or your country, whatever, you're never the same. And so I think back to the time that they spent together when things were going along pretty smoothly, and then all of a sudden, Donald was born, and then another one, and then before long there were seven of us, and then my dad left. My dad moved out, and my mom was on her own with I was in college and married, but um, it wasn't easy for her. She probably spent a lot of time in the same place that I'm in, wondering, how we were all going to turn out. And fortunately, we all turned out pretty good. We have our issues, but nobody's in jail, and nobody's, uh, everybody's got families, and we have health issues and the same kind of issues that everybody else has. But I think if my mom was on the planet and she looked at us, she would probably be pretty happy with the way life is for most of us. And but she spent a lot of I think she spent a lot of time in the same kind of place that I more than more than me. She was a homebody. She didn't want to travel, and her kids and her grandkids were her main focus. But I know that she spent a lot of days. Um, our house was organized because she stayed home, and because she liked doing all the things we're talking about that take time,
Yeah.
and did the extra stuff. I'm probably as healthy as I am, partly because of what she taught me. There was a lot of stuff she couldn't talk about, like sex and money. I needed to learn that from somebody. It wasn't her, but I learned it along the way. But yeah, when I think back about her, and what her life was like, I'm going, oh my God, she was probably She was probably worried about all of us too at various times. And
Yeah.
I don't, when I think about it, I don't think any of us, I don't think any of us ever got to the point, with my mother at least, that we didn't talk to her. Um, it was different with my father. There were years that his children didn't want to talk to him. Uh, but then after he died, I heard my brothers, who always blamed my dad, I heard them say, it really wasn't all dad. It wasn't all dad's issue. Mom had her issues too, right?
Hmm.
But they managed to raise 7 kids who did the best they could do.
Yeah.
And so did they, right?
Yeah.
Which is something I think I should remember and say to Austin. You know, remember I say to you, Austin, you're doing the best you can with what you know. And he would always say, "Oh, that's not right, Mom. Sometimes I was lazy." Well, you know what? Maybe sometimes now you are lazy, and maybe you are on any one given day, maybe it's a lazy day. And then if it's a lazy day today, then you got to pick it up tomorrow.
Yeah.
it, it took me longer it took me longer to get settled in Village Joy this time than normal, for the very reason we're talking about. I was feeling my emotions and I didn't feel like doing stuff, but there was just me. I didn't have any. I didn't have 2 little accountable kids around me, that I had to think about. So there were 2 or 3 days where Village Joy was a disaster because I couldn't organize it. I just wasn't in that organized frame of mind. But then eventually I did, and right now, I wouldn't feel bad about anybody that stopped over. Uh, but Austin doesn't care very much about that because he doesn't care whether he has a lot of visitors. He's kind of because of he's more of a loner than some of us are. And he feels good if he gets to the grocery and goes shopping. And, you know, it takes, when he does that, it takes all day out. It takes all of his energy to do that kind of stuff. And then, he has to rest for a while. So I understand it. Um, it's just, it's gotten away from him, and he needs some help. So now it's time for you to talk and tell me some good stuff about what's going on with you, because enough crying and enough of this bad stuff. Not bad stuff, but painful stuff.
Yeah. Mhm. Good stuff is that I spoke to you about that group that I nowadays I'm with, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And if you see my like it is every day, no, almost every day in a week, like
Hmm.
3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It is in the morning, 11 to 1, and
Uh-huh.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's 7 to 9 in the evening.
Uh-huh.
And Saturday also we have some extra thing from 4 to 5, like that.
Uh-huh.
Monday just now from 6 to 7 we had. Friday we have it is entire week that we are engaged in something or other. So what we actually discuss is our identity. The second
Hmm.
is um belief transformation,
Hmm.
especially if it is a toxic belief. And the
Uh-huh.
third is money breakthroughs, which
Yeah.
everybody wants. So in that,
Yeah.
mostly what we talk is, and if everybody is allowed to talk, allowed to share their apprehensions and their thought processes. and how how we can reframe whatever we are thinking. So
Mm-hmm.
this takes and every time we go, it is I have joined that group on 17th of March, and it is May end, so almost 2.5 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in
Today
this,
62. Today is day 62.
yeah, today also was there. So it was first day, Monday 11 to 1. So we keep repeating these three topics every week, but the weeks are never the same because the
Yeah.
sharings are different, and experiences are different. So we pick up from there. So what it does is like there is an identity, like there is a core identity to each of us, Sophie,
Mm-hmm.
which keeps hidden. Like I am a person uh, very happy, very joyful, and very accommodating kind. I never knew that. No,
Mm-hmm.
although I thought at times that I am this, but when anybody asks me like, how would you describe yourself?
Uh-huh.
I will never. I was never describing myself in terms of that.
Really?
Now, yeah. So I never described
What
myself like that.
what would you have said?
So we give a name. So I always say I'm an innovator. So I'm innovation. I'm
Uh-huh.
a change maker. This kind of
Uh,
stuff I always describe myself with. But I every time I said that, I always realized that it was not the entire of what I think about myself.
okay, very interesting.
Yeah. So
I bet you were surprised to hear them say that, weren't you?
So I discovered it because the person, no, the coach who is doing this, he
Yeah.
actually facilitates in such a way that you discover yourself in the process. He
Uh-huh.
doesn't say you are this or you are that. He only so I discovered it, uh, and the day I discovered there is a name to it, Puppy Jappi, right?
Humpty Dumpty, is that what you said?
Pu- puppy is like a kiss, and Jappy is hug.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
Got it.
it
All right.
is a friendly person, no? Who always open to the possibilities, the immense possibilities of life,
Yeah.
and is is about to jump at anything that comes up looking for. So this has become my identity, and the day I discovered it, it was like no, it filled my space, no.
Yeah.
So if that becomes my identity, then how do I see everything that has been occurring around me? Everything has changed, no, since then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever I spoke to you today is from that background. So
Yeah.
who you are is very important in what you do, how you handle things. So it is not my job to give you an identity. It is you to discover your identity and who you are. You know that in the core of your heart, just that you don't say it, or you don't uh, enough contemplate about it. Just that. So when you do that, you everything becomes different. and you can see why it is happening, and you'll get a simple solution to it.
Yeah. So so do you now see if what I heard you say, you you filter all the things that you are still doing in your life, through a new identity that, it's not like you gave up the old one, but you've expanded, to include what other people see you as. So you have an expanded sense of who you are, and then the things that you do now, whether it's, bake biscuits or travel or whatever, you will see through an expanded sense of who you are.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. So it kind of saves you a lot of unnecessary doing that we do
Yeah,
because of a false identity, you know.
yeah,
So the false identity also uh, takes you to a lot of attachment to false things around you,
yeah.
right? The moment you discover yourself, all those are gone because you don't need all those false things to around you to exist, you know. So,
well, well, let me ask you. So you used to see, yourself as an innovator. So the people that told you that they saw you as someone who was very accommodating and somebody who was always happy and pleasant to be around, did they acknowledge that you saw yourself as an innovator, or did they not think of you at all that way? What did
so,
they say? What did they say the way you saw yourself?
so, all the what their opinion is immaterial right now. Why? Because when I describe myself as an innovator, there is a bit of ego attached to it, right?
Uh-huh.
When I say myself as a change maker, I'm speaking from the point of view of my ego. Now,
Yeah.
when I'm open to all this and I'm childlike, there is no ego as it is as such, no. With this,
Mm.
there is no ego anymore. So it becomes like even if I innovate or not innovate, I think from the perspective of me being at peace first and me being immensely
Okay.
happy first, and that is not a
Okay.
routine kind of thing. It is discovering myself again and again because there are crores of billions of layers in the human mind, you know, and
Yeah.
those layers need to be taken off to get to the pure soul. And
Yeah.
that is a journey. That is the journey of human life.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
yeah, so those layers are still there, you know. It is not that it goes so easily, but it helps in when everything that happens and everything your mind is playing with you. ev- Every time you go back and ask yourself, who are you in this?
Uh,
So, so
yeah.
I remind myself that I am Puppy Jappy. So, from a Puppy Jappy point of view, what is this?
I like that word. That's that can only happen in India. Like that. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah. So some
Very in.
of them have defined themselves as love. Some of them have defined themselves as light. Some of them
Yeah.
have given themselves as adventure. So it is not doing, it is the being, being state.
Being, yes. Yes.
So the being is adventure, the being is inspire, the being is love. So puppy juppy is one kind of love, but it is much more than me like. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Puppy duppy is the word. Puppy duppy.
Puppy juppy.
Pup
Pappi
oh,
Jhappi.
oh, J. The second word starts with a J. Puppy
Yeah,
duppy. Okay.
yeah.
That's a good one. Can I use that today? I need some puppy juppy. Oh, yeah.
This is simple. A hug and a kiss, but a hug and a kiss doesn't come easily, when you are in a very disturbed state of mind.
Yeah, right.
It
Right.
only can come when you are joyful, blissful, completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I'm going to give you the upside of Rebecca's disaster in the bathroom. When she's in the midst of all of her makeup and her earrings, she's puppy juppy. I mean, she really has a good time being a 12-year-old girl with, you know, earrings and her little Hello Dolly pajamas and all that kind of stuff. So she and her girlfriends, I think, really enjoy all of that. So, you know, she's got all of that stuff there to play with. And um, she brought home her artwork because the end of the year is coming. And um, some of her artwork is in the dining room where the dining room table is, and she's very good. I hope she continues with it because she has a good sense. She has a good artsy fartsy sense of the world, and and there's a lot of joy in her life. She has a boyfriend, so there's a lot of drama around him right now. So that's the puppy juppy part for Rebecca. And I'm sure that, hearing her grandma be unhappy because there's black paint on the chrome in the bathroom and a red heart on the wall now. It could be worse. It could have been a could have been a demon face or something but at least there was a heart, right? I probably shouldn't bitch about the fact that it was a heart. uh, so she is in the midst of puppy juppy, and I think Rafe is too. The walls could go around him and he would be playing his virtual reality game, and he's, as a 10-year-old, pretty excited about it. It's we adults that lose track of the puppy juppy part. I
Yeah.
need to do I need to do my toenails. That would make me feel puppy juppy. They are grown out. They're bright pink and they actually glow in the dark. I did not know that when I went and had my toenails done last. I picked glow in the dark paint, and I just found out about it because I happened to be in a bunch of light, and then I turned the light out and my toenails were glowing. uh, but they're grown out now. I bought some polish and I need to do them again. But that's my puppy juppy at the moment. My toenails are a pretty color magenta. They just need to be redone. I guess I needed a good cry. um, and we've had a lot of lovely things happen. My friend Oceana, who did the face painting at the Strawberry Festival, graduated on Friday, and I got home from Eyes of Freedom in Ohio in time to see her graduate and get her diploma. I didn't get to talk to her because she was heading off to parties. And and then yesterday, our 30-year-old Fred Arimer, he had his birthday yesterday. We had a really nice party for him, and we're going to really miss him because one of his brothers, took him back to Baltimore, Maryland with him. He was living with his dad, and they had a big falling out, and we don't know what's going to happen with his dad. He's supposed to go on kidney dialysis at home, but he has stopped following. He's stopped eating well, and he's starting to eat and drink things that are not good for his kidneys, who that are already in bad shape. Um, but at least Arimer now has gone he's gone with his brother to start a new life, and maybe he'll come back. And we don't know about his dad. Uh, we wouldn't be surprised to know that somebody found him dead in his log cabin. He's way back in the woods. He doesn't have a cell phone. He has a computer, so he can email people, but he didn't. He started threatening people, and he carries a gun, and so the boys didn't want him at the party, and they told him that, and nobody's heard from him since the party to tell. He hasn't emailed anybody to say how'd the party go. So we don't know what kind of shape he's in, but two young people, Oceana got a start. She graduated, and Arimer turned 30 and went back with his brother to start a new life. So we're going to miss him, but we're pretty excited, that he got away from his dad, who was really not stable. So there's a little bit of everything going on. It's we've had a lot of rain, so it's very green here, and it's supposed to be nice in the next couple days. That's why I was gonna paint the back end of my car. It'll have time to cure. It'll have time to dry. And then Thursday I take off for Eyes of Freedom in Ohio again. There's another event on Thursday, and I will be back. Um, oh, you would be interested in this part too. There is a garden called Showmeyer. That's these people's last name. They the gardens are only open in June. So all year they get ready for this June spectacular. And there's waterfalls and water features, and you pay a certain price for your car, and then you can cram as many people in your car as you can get, and it's like $50, and you get in, and then you can roam around the grounds. So I'm going to do that. uh, it's my answer to getting to Japan and France without actually getting there.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm going to do on Sunday, and then I'll come back here on Monday, and it's about 5 hours. It's about 5 hours away, a drive of about 5 hours. It's in the same area, Columbus. It's not too far from Columbus. These are all little towns around where the boy's father grew up. So, but I will get back on the road on Thursday. And then when I come back on Monday, um, there will be an electrician here because I spent some money upgrading the electrical system in Villa Joy and in Austin's house so that I can plug in as much as I want without blowing all the fuse. Well, the fuse box, they're going to replace that. But some of the money I got from my car accident, I'm spending as an investment in um, being able to, use a fan and a microwave and anything else I want to use at the same time without messing up the electrical system in the house. So he's coming on Monday, and uh, that will be a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot has happened in a very short amount of time, I guess. When I step back, a lot has a lot of emotional things have occurred in the last week to 2 weeks for the people that I know, and for the people here, and for you for sure. Um, I'm That's exciting that your groups are going so well.
Yeah.
Um, are other people in the groups as surprised about the way that people are learning new things about themselves?
Yes, yes, everybody. Each
Yeah,
every day. Actually,
yeah,
every day it is a reframing of the present situation. People are undergoing different uh, challenges in their lives, you know.
yeah,
Uh, but it
uh,
helps
uh,
them to reframe the thing so that they get action points, what to
yeah,
do.
yeah,
So, like previously, they were helpless or say clueless about things. Now they get something, what to do, how to
yeah.
behave. So,
What was one of the surprises that one of the men heard that they were surprised to hear that they didn't realize?
uh,
Can you can you remember what one of the guys was surprised to find out?
yeah, so majorly these are girls only and women of different
Yeah.
ages. So,
Okay.
the girls, like, they were very angry about their parents mostly. And
Yeah.
this is very surprising. All of them, the bunch, the entire bunch, they are pretty they angry at their parents at
Yeah.
different level or parents-in-laws because you know in India it is like very suffocating once a girl is married to the husband's
Yeah.
house and the entire
Yeah.
family she has to
Yes.
adjust and all of that stuff.
Yes.
So
Yes.
and the same person who was a boyfriend the day before, once they get married, he becomes a husband and behaves entirely different.
Yep.
And
It,
so
yep.
that kind of also surprises the girls. Like, but it is part of that. But so sometimes the mind rebels also, and
Yeah.
that anger continues. So those incidences are getting processed out here by
And
themselves. So
how old are these girls?
so one of them is my age, about 60,
Okay.
and this lady who is married is about say 35, and
Okay.
the girl is of 42, 43. There are
Oh, so
40 in 40 range. There are two, three girls, and is
okay.
30 plus, like two, three. Yeah, it is like that.
So these are not young girls like in their 20s like here. Most people get married in, well, it's closer to be between your 20s and 30s. So these are not young women who just got married, or are they people who got married in their 30s and 40s?
So after marriage, it is 4 to 5 years. Just married, there are none. One girl is there who there are two girls who are about to marry, means they are looking for marriage, you know.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
They are kind of talking about the dream person that they would like to marry.
Yeah.
And so from that conversation, I think that they are about to marry, uh,
Uh-huh.
kind of thinking of marriage or something. So, yeah.
So are people getting married old? Are they holding off on marriage because of work and school there, like people are here, because it used to be people got married, closer to their early 20s here, but now people are waiting longer. Is the same thing happening in India?
Yes, like my younger daughter is already, she is going to be 30 this July,
Yeah.
and she still isn't thinking of marriage, which
Uh-huh.
means it will be another at least 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years when she gets married, or if at all.
Yeah.
She
Maybe.
doesn't even think of marriage, and
Yeah.
that's
Maybe
pretty
it may,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. If it wasn't, for the fact that Nathan and Austin wanted to be born, if I knew what I knew now about myself, I probably wouldn't get married so early, if at all. But it wasn't the generation then to have children out of wedlock. You just got married and then you had your kids. But now it's a lot different in many situations. People often live together, and then maybe they have children, maybe they don't, but it's not unusual for single people, to have children if that's what they want without being married. And that's a new thing for the generations that came after me. So lots of a lot more people, I think, are not wanting to have children or not be married, or they're still identifying their own sense of self through gender and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
In West Virginia, I think it's still pretty traditional, but in the areas like around the big cities, I think we would see more of that than down here.
Yeah. So, so if you think why people get married, it is because, because of companionship, maybe, or
Yeah.
everybody is busy in their life, so that is why they want to get to their own life, so that is why they get married. But if there is something like-minded people being together without the concept of any marriage, and still they can have their conversations like old good friends meet after so long
Sure.
and still they are friends. If that kind of
Yeah.
situation, that kind of communities start existing like as it is now, then people won't feel the need to get married, no? Because the need for children is no more there,
Right. You
which
don't need them
means
for your farm anymore.
you don't need to have children, which means
Yes. Yeah.
the only thing required is like-minded people with whom you can gel and share your life,
Hmm.
share your difficulties like friends. If that is possible,
Yeah.
then there is no need for marriage. I think marriage is,
Yeah.
or else marriage has to be, more open, more,
Yeah.
yeah,
There, I had a conversation with my friend Dean a couple weeks ago, and I said, I basically, we were having the same similar conversation, and I said, I don't think we even have the language yet for the way relationships are developing into, or what marriage is, if marriage is going to be something that you do legally. I think we're developing this, we're in the midst of developing a language that we've not used before.
yeah,
Mm.
yes,
Did I tell you? Did I tell you about the book that I read called The State of Affairs by Esther Perel? She's a couples counselor. I don't know if I ever told you about this book, but I just found it online by accident several years oh, it's probably been 5 or 6 years ago. I'm telling you, I wanted to buy the book for everyone I knew because the her practice is basically to help people who have had affairs decide if they want to stay together or if they don't. That's that's what her whole practice is about. And when you see her on YouTube, that's pretty much what, she tells you. But by the end of the book, the last couple chapters taught me so much about who I was at the time I bought the book 5 or 6 years ago. It made me think, if Austin and Nathan had not wanted to come through, I probably would never have gotten married. I'm not the same person that I was when I met John, for sure. I was just in my 20s. I wasn't even 21 when I got married, but um I just learned a whole lot about myself from the last couple chapters of the book. Uh and maybe I wouldn't have been able to relate to it had I read it in my 20s. But going through several marriages and and being aware of what you go through, um when you have an affair with someone, uh it teaches you a lot about who you are and what you want and what you don't want, because you have to look at why you did it, what was missing from who you were. It's not about the other person. It's like what we're talking about. It's who we are and what missing piece do you need, that you don't rely on someone else to give you. That's not a concept I knew at 20.
Mhm.
But it's a very interesting book, and so I have it packed away somewhere, but I loaned it out because I really, really, I learned so much about myself. I don't know if everyone else that read it learned as much, but I surely did. I wanted to give it to everybody I knew.
Mhm.
But as a counselor, she said things like, you counsel people as a couple, and then you counsel them individually. And the question then became for her as a counselor, when I find out information about one person, say I'm talking to the woman and I find out information about them, then my professional ethics get challenged, because do I share that, you know, when I'm talking to both of them? And where is the line? Where do you draw the line about what you share and what you don't share when you think it could be beneficial to counseling as a couple? I mean, I can understand being caught in the middle of that. Somebody tells you something in confidence as a individual counselor, and then how do you go from there sometimes? But it was a pretty interesting book. Anyway, you must be getting tired, right? Are you ready for sleep?
Yeah, in
Geez, it's 1 o'clock here, so it's 10:30 there, right?
it's 10:30 here.
Yeah, you need to go. I need to let you go. But thank you for all your wisdom and your advice, and, and your level head and your puppy juppy.
Thank you, thank you. Yes,
You're
yes.
welcome.
Be
You're welcome.
strong and deal with your family, everybody. It is required. Your strength is required, and they need your strength right now to get their own guidance and direction. Yes.
It uh probably some consistency and just an acknowledgement that we got a job to do here. that without the emotions in it, that 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 will, I think, go a long way toward us to the other side of where we need to be here. So I will keep you posted.
Yes, sure.
All
Yes.
right. Well,
Yeah. Bye. Bye,
all right.
Sophie.
I love you. Bye bye.
Bye.